Good afternoon and welcome to the Hoosier Huddle. After the dust settles on Ohio State, Indiana, uh, Indiana, no surprise to anybody, fell 56-14 to the number two Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus in a snow game, sort of, last week. Um, I'm not as mad as I was last week. Alex, I thought that, first of all, Connor Bazelak checked out, and I think he's done. His time is done. I think Dexter Williams is a starter going forward, based on availability tomorrow, and based on that he finished the game against Ohio State. And now you're going up against two defenses who are kind of matchup defenses, that you should have a little bit of success against. And there are two trophy games coming up with Michigan State and the old brass spittoon, and then of course Purdue and the old Oaken bucket, and we'll see if that game is also for Purdue to win the West Division. And I hope not, because that would really really suck to have them go for the West Division on our field. But I think it's a time you're going to start learning about what the future um, is for this team. I thought Dex played all right against Ohio State. He didn't play as great as some people are saying, but he did do some good things. I think the added dimension with running the ball helps as well. You saw Carter Smith play along the offensive line. I need to go back and rewatch the game, but it looked like he held his own. I mean, Ohio State's
Yep.
defensive line has they're all like five-star dudes, um, up there as well. Who else play? You got Jalen Lucas got a lot of reps at running back. You saw Josh Henderson. He needs to be the starter going forward. We've beaten that horse to death as well. But I thought the young guys, you saw Caden Turner, Isaiah Jones in there as well. Benson Sneed played. So it looks like, and now that you're not eligible for a bowl, which has been hey, we're still eligible. Well, that was a seventh loss yesterday with no bowl on the table. It's time to empty the bench and see what you got. And I think they did that yesterday. And I thought that a lot of the young guys who played pretty well.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where you start and finish with this one. It's frustrating and embarrassing that you couldn't cover a 40 point spread in a conference game, but is what it is. Another lost season and it sucks. But, at least we saw after the first drive, we saw young guys start to play. So
Yep.
I thought that was encouraging. I agree with Bazelak. Pre-game, some of the stuff we had down on the field, he just did not look, like he
He
wanted to
wanted to
be
be.
there.
No, he looked like what the IU fans probably looked like yesterday. Why am I here? Um,
Yeah. So,
so
he knew his leash was impossibly short. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see him play in the last two games.
I would
But I
kind of.
think he'll be an early entrance to the transfer portal, which stinks. I was excited about it. I thought it would work. A lot of change, a lot of new things. I think he needs to go to a system kind of more air raid style with a better O line, obviously. But, you know, always appreciate guys that come here to play. So,
He used his free
no,
transfer. He used his free transfer, so he might have to go down to the FCS level or sit out a year.
yeah, he'll
Um,
go somewhere, I'm sure. He's
yeah,
got talent. He's a good player. It just didn't work. So,
yeah.
no bad blood from me. So yeah, but Dexter Williams, I think, is the story of the game. I think he's the story of the, last two games of the season now. That's pretty much all that matters when you think about how much change is gonna happen with this roster in the offseason. Some good things I really liked. I think he has, at this point in his career, next to no touch on the football. And that's kind of expected if you're getting, you know, reps towards the bottom of the depth chart and you've been hurt. But, excuse me, but, a couple throws he would like back, I think, where he just put too much mustard on him.
Yep.
But some good ones. And I think you saw, especially in that second half, when the game wasn't totally out of question. Obviously, it wasn't ever really close, but Ohio State brought some kind of jailbreak blitzes, some blitzes right up the A gap, kind of right in his face. He didn't really identify him. There were a couple times Jalen Lucas was the running back. He wasn't really able to identify where he was supposed to be. That's just good. That's what you want. And again, that's why we've been saying now since the season has been over, you have to play these guys and get these guys reps. So you obviously don't want to give up sacks ever. Unfortunately, been a pattern all season, but playing Williams and Lucas in the backfield together, and now they have film on, okay, we should have picked this up. Okay, I should have got out of this play. Okay, I should have checked with the sideline. That
Yep.
stuff is good. That's what you need to develop, and that's not stuff you're going to get in practice. So
Nope.
I liked what I saw from Dex. I think kind of the veer and the slant running games with the read option mixed in. I thought that was a new wrinkle, obviously. I think that's what Walt Bell wants and I think envisions this offense. If you look at the quarterback depth chart next year, assuming Bays is gone, you have Williams, Sorsby, and incoming freshman, hopefully Brock Lowry from outside Cincinnati. Those are three very mobile guys. You'd expect IU to be active in the portal, maybe looking at another mobile quarterback, but I think you saw more of what Walt Bell wants this offense to be with Dex at quarterback yesterday. But hopefully we see more of that stuff that you can kind of build on for next year in the next two games.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you saw that, they got Parker Hanna out of there pretty quickly. And so now you got a guy, Carter Smith, true freshman. I thought he held his own. So now you have
Yep.
options. You expect Matthew Bedford to come back. I haven't heard anything else otherwise.
Mhm.
If about going someplace else. So and he would take over for Luke Haggard, who's graduating. You bring Zach Carpenter back. You bring Mike Kadick back. And
Sales has got a lot of good reps this year. He's looked inconsistent, but you can see the flashes.
yeah, they
Yeah,
need.
you're
I
kind of
mean, anybody who thought Rod Carey was going to instantly fix this line, they're just off the beaten path. They need an off season. They need a spring practice. They need a full fall camp with, the next coach. I don't know if it's going to be Rod Carey. He didn't go out recruiting with the group, and I don't think that's a bad sign either. Rod Carey is doing Tom Allen a huge favor by taking over the offensive line. He was hired as a quality control assistant, off the field type of thing, which, he's been a head coach. He's been a successful head coach. And maybe he goes and tries to get a coordinator position and work his way back to head coach, and things like that. But, I'm on the line of thinking that Tom Allen is back for 2023. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to discuss it in terms of, oh, should he be fired? It's 25.5 million. End of discussion.
Yep.
And so you got to prepare for next year. And so I think that the pieces on the offensive line, don't forget you have Bray Lynch, who really hasn't played. I'd like to see him get some playing time if he's healthy. He did travel yesterday, so if he's ready to go, get him and swap him out with Luke Haggard for a little bit. They did play Vinny Fiacable. They did play Cam Knight late in the game as well. So as you said, Alex, earlier in the show, it's all those reps. Even if it's one play, you have it on tape. And now you've seen, and that's probably the best you're going to see in your career at Indiana is Ohio State and Penn State and Michigan. Those are the three best defenses you're going to see, and all these young guys have now seen two of them. So you're getting used to the speed. You're getting used to, oh crap, they're doing the jailbreak blitz. This is where we have to be, and things like that. You've seen it. You're now not going into fall camp going, hey, we haven't seen it. We're going to be shocked when we get open up with Ohio State next year, and things like that. So as we said all season, it's accelerating the development of these players. Now you got to cross your fingers and hope that a lot of them don't leave, but it's rewarding them with playing time, and then hopefully in the off season they could get this NIL stuff hammered out, and uh, get some people to either stay out of the portal, bring guys in from the portal, and things like that. It looks like, maybe you go get some JUCO guys to fill in holes and things
Yep.
like that, which we said is how Kansas State did it. You go down to the JUCO ranks. They're not going to want these massive NIL deals anyway. They'll be happy with the scholarship, and whatever money you throw their way, they'll take. You're going to have the EA Sports money. You're going to have it looks like they have jerseys ready to print. At least when I went to the basketball game on Monday night, they had football jerseys there with Shivers and Cam Jones and all that stuff. So they have the facilities and things to do that. Um, but we'll see. These two games, they're very important. If you could get one of them and get one of the trophies back, I think you have some momentum going into the offseason, which is all you need. You just need a little bit of momentum going into the off season, and hopefully it's not dead air like it was last season with no spring practice availability, no spring game, and basically from signing day on till fall camp, it was anybody's guess what was going on in the Indiana football room.
Yeah, I mean, Zach, I don't know if you want to jump in, but game specific, I don't know, another stinker. I mean, you completed 9 passes, so
Yeah, he
and
went 0 for 9 there too, for a while. There was like 0 for 9 in a row. But it's you gotta live with it. That you gotta take the growing pains. But yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that still blows my mind is the fact that I know I keep saying it, but that Sorsby came in before Dexter against Penn State. Um, and what I saw from Bazelak before the game was he was just by himself, not wanting to be there. And I'm like, why is this guy even here? And what the coaches have been saying is like, he's hurt, right? Physically, mentally, but I don't know. I just I feel a little bit of hope with Dexter and the young guys and how they're playing, which is what you want to see considering the season is pretty much over. Um, and if we can pick up a win this week, which I think we will have a shot, but we gotta get Dexter some help. Like I thought there was multiple on the offensive side of the ball. There was multiple screenplays that were just blown up, um, tackles for losses from the Buckeyes, and yeah. But overall, I didn't think it. I'm not as mad as I thought I was going to be, and I didn't think it went as bad as it could have gotten.
No, and some of it was this is what we expected. You expected to, the Vegas thought the spread was going to be 40, and Vegas is usually right on these things. But anybody who was going into that game thinking IU was going to win is an insane person. Um, so I mean, you got to set your expectations, and I think like against Penn State, the reason that I think Alex and I were so upset um, was because they didn't exactly what Zach said. They started Tuttle. They bring Brandon Sorsby in,
Mhm.
who is a young guy. That's fine, but you know Dexter Williams has been in this program for 3 years, and unless everything that we've heard and what Zach has seen in fall camp is totally wrong, um, the guy deserves a chance. And yeah, he was recruited by Kalen DeBoer and a different offensive staff, but so what? If he's all this, the last two games have proven to me is that Jack Tuttle, I was right. Jack Tuttle probably should have been the starter coming out of fall camp because you need having the threat of a quarterback run um, changes the dynamic of that offense. Now, like Zach said, there were those tackles for loss, but you're going against all American linebackers who when Brett Lewis on the radio has his notes from the NFL Network that says Eichenberg has excellent, diagnosing skills. Yeah, you could see that because he's in the backfield going, okay, we've studied this tape, and look, Ohio State players are just better. And that's what happens when you have better talent on the field, that you can make those plays. It's games where IU has talent that are similar, like so Michigan State, Purdue, Maryland, and Rutgers, where IU, they should have better talent than some of these teams, but they're all in the same group. Uh, Illinois too. Those are the games that, okay, now let's see what you have, because you basically have no shot against some of these other teams, unless they're checked out or injured or things like that. Um,
Yeah,
so
but I mean, checked out. You want to like the defense yesterday looked checked out, and the whole tackling takeaways effort is the foundation of Indiana's defense, and your defense
yeah,
is called by your head coach. I saw none of that yesterday, regardless of the score, regardless of the opponent. The guy, I think that was number 10 on Ohio State, the guy that had the 70-yard carry. I think that was his first carry of the season.
he's a wide receiver, but yeah,
Essentially untouched touchdown. He was a lot like
well,
you
yeah,
have
it's
the
fair to
guy that
call
tore
out
his ACL
players.
4 times scores against you in garbage time, and they show him on the sideline for 12 minutes. Like, I saw no effort, I saw no tackling, I saw no takeaways. Mullen drops another pick. Monster and Williams get cooked all game. Missed
Yep.
tackles galore. I don't know. You have no depth on defense next year. I'm very concerned about the secondary depth. Already looking ahead to next year, you lose a ton, and maybe that's not the worst thing. I have
But
no
you
idea
gotta
who fills spots next year in the secondary.
think they're going
Sad.
after a
Chris
bunch of
Keys has looked
JUCOs guys.
okay. I like Dunham. You have no depth on defense for next year, so you kind of staked your claim to these fifth and sixth year seniors on defense,
Yeah,
and hoping for a very experienced, deep, talented roster. You're in trouble now. So
yep.
I hated what I saw from the defense. Pretty much zero effort all game.
I do
Um,
want to give on that 70-yard run, yeah, there was a lot of dogged efforts, but I think it was Patrick Lucas, the defensive lineman. He was running down there, and he was running faster than some of the linebackers and all that
yeah,
stuff. So, the effort from some of the people
yeah.
is
Dasan McCullough
unacceptable.
was his usual self all over the field. He made a couple mistakes in coverage. I don't think he should be in coverage at all, but that's a entirely different story. But
Yeah,
he was excited. He was locked in. He
he
plays
gets
to the
double
whistle.
pancaked by
He's been a
people.
joy to watch.
Yeah, he gets double
He's yeah he
pancaked by people, and
Yep,
is still the
yep,
first guy to the quarterback and things like that. So
yep.
but that's
And then makes Stroud throw a bad ball, and guess what? Your All-American fifth-year senior drops the pick, and then they score on the.
yeah.
So he played hard. He's played hard all season. He's been awesome to watch. Aaron Casey had another double-digit tackle game. He's been phenomenal. I hope we get selfishly. I hope we get to watch Cam Jones at least one more time, but
I don't think so.
I don't know. So I don't think he will, but IU just on some of those effort plays, on those 50-50 balls, we finally recovered a fumble, which was miraculous.
I was trying to
But you
go
saw
back.
Ohio State guys, yeah, you saw Penn State and Ohio State's receivers the last 2 weeks make the contested catches, get the first downs when you need them. I think it was nice to see Malachi Holt Bennett with a catch yesterday. McCauley had his first career receiving touchdown. I don't know. Marvin Harrison Jr. is Marvin Harrison Jr., but you watch all these other receivers make contested catches. Barner obviously made the one in the end zone, but IU has a make a play when you need a play problem, and on
Yes.
both sides of the ball. So, and that's not something you can really coach, but frustrating.
No. Yeah, it
I
is.
didn't
And
like the effort on defense at all.
no, the defensive effort wasn't great. But that's how you build depth too. Is, hey, use the bench, get your fifth year, 6 year seniors out there who aren't giving you 100%, or aren't performing well, so that you could go get Philip Dunham more reps against
Yep.
top tier top tier opponents. Or Chris Keys, I think he's played pretty well. He's a guy
Yes.
to be excited about next year. I would like to see
Yep.
James Mons, if he's not injured, to come in and play.
Mm-hmm.
Lem
Yep.
Watt Neely, is getting good reps coming off a knee injury from last year. So that's how you
Yep.
build depth. You don't build depth by playing your fifth and sixth year guys when the season's, you're just playing out the last two games and things like that. So, as much effort
Yeah,
as any.
Travell Mullen, another one. Get him in there. I don't
Yep.
think we've seen him all year.
Nope. Get him in there. I mean, there's some other guys in there too. Jamari Sharp.
Yep.
If he's healthy, any young guy who's healthy who might be part of the rebuild next year, you got to play him. You got to see what you have
Yeah.
because these reps are
Yeah.
invaluable. I do want to talk. I think James Evans is going to be up for the Ray Guy Award. Um, he's got like 24,
All my
25.
favorite. Yeah. All my quick one on that. Oh, it's because he punts so much and he's the most work player on the roster. Yeah, he's been punting a lot, but regardless of like quantity, he punted a lot last year too. But purely improvement wise, forget like the quality and his execution in the kicking game has been phenomenal. So his improvement's been awesome. And I don't want to see him out there as much. I'm sure he doesn't even want to punt as much, but that's been super positive because he was bad last year. He was bad,
Yes.
and that was his first year of American football, and moving from Australia or New Zealand, and all this stuff. But he's been sweet. So take out the number of punts, whatever, they've been good. So, and for
Yeah,
someone that has had to run out there as much as he's been consistently solid.
Yeah, and the protection on the block punt, that's not a Evans issue. I think that's just talent issue on Ohio State
Yeah.
speed. Yeah, you have to get the ball off a little bit faster, but you could only go as fast as you could go. But yeah, Evans has been outstanding. And you know what? I've watched Ohio State's teams when they had Cameron Johnston. He was a real weapon. He'd flip the field and things like that. Punter, uh, they're important to winning teams too. Now
Yep.
you just have to have the defense or the offense take advantage when you pin them back inside the 20. He's done that, I think, 24 times now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could get the offense the ball on the plus side or, just over the 50, you have a shot. You have a good kicker in Charles Campbell. And you have a shot where you don't need to get a 75-yard drive to get points. You could get 30, 25, 30 yards and get there. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The last two games, get the young guys in, see if they play with passion in these two trophy games because that's important to IU fans as well. I know the spittoon doesn't carry as much weight as the bucket, but you want to see some passion. And God forbid if Purdue is up for a division title up there. I forgot what year it was. Was it 89 or 90? Whenever Anthony Thompson was up for the Heisman Trophy, Purdue came in. We went up there. They said no bucket, no bowl, no Heisman. Well, you know what? It's time for payback if it comes down to the division in that game, which it might. It very well might. We'll see what time that game is. We'll see what time Iowa or no, they'll know. Iowa and Nebraska's on Friday. They'll
Yeah.
know. You'll know what that game it's at stake at that game, and things like that. So that's what I want to see. Just play with passion, play hard.
Yeah.
The DNA, like you said, tackling, takeaways, and effort. To me, takeaways they're a product of effort and tackling. So you play with effort and you tackle well. Yeah, maybe you get some takeaways. That's what I want to see. Is just get back to the DNA and the foundation of this program, because Tom Allen's not going anywhere unless he makes the decision himself to take another job or to resign, which I don't think he will. he's here for at least another 2 years. They're not buying out 25 and a half or 20.8, whatever it is after next year. He's here through the 24 season. So, you know what? Let's run it back, build what you could get, and then, try to fix the foundation of the program, which,
Yeah.
comes back to NIL, um, funding and all of that stuff. If you didn't notice, Ohio State, the great world famous Ohio State, as Gus Johnson said, sell sponsorship for their field. It was Safe Flight Field at Ohio Stadium, which, as traditional, and you don't. There's not very many football programs with as much tradition as Ohio State, and if Ohio State can put some advertising on their field, there's no reason IU can't, even though the money's going to be different. Um, I know people are complaining about having Simon Scott Assembly Hall on the floor, but you know what? They renovated it. They did a nice job doing the lobby and things like that. That's the price to pay to keep your facilities up to date. So even if IU gets six figures a year in selling the naming rights to their field, they need to do it as well. But don't think you're too good for it, because Ohio State's not too good for it. And they name everything walking around that stadium. They name the tunnel is named. I'm sure there are toilets named. Basically anything they could slap a name on, they do. So, take a page out of one of the most successful football programs in the history of the sport, and find ways to generate money if you're not gonna find ways to fundraise from donors and alumni.
Yeah. It is what it is. We'll see. I think you are looking at a pretty busy offseason in terms of the roster. It stinks because you can tell now Allen's message since he's been head coach has been build from within, keep our guys, I recruit the guys I want out of high school, and maybe we add a couple transfers here or there. I don't think you have that luxury anymore. So kind of worries me if your whole foundation is culture and continuity in today's
Correct.
era of college football. I think you can't do that. So I don't know how it works or if it works, but I don't know. Can we get more than one QB pressure next week? Like, I don't know why even have, if you're just going to rush four, just have 11 in coverage. Like what's the point? It was zero push, not really any blitzing. I don't know. And if you're going to sit back, you got to have linebackers plug some holes, but there's a lot of tackling guys from behind. Just frustrating. So the defensive effort and scheme I thought was disgusting yesterday. I understand it's Ohio State. Northwestern held them to 21. I get it was windy and it was on the road, but I don't know.
The weather was gross. I was so cold.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
it's football in the Big Ten.
Northwestern team.
Yeah,
you scored as many points as Northwestern. They gave you a gift muff punt touchdown, basically. But I don't know, kind of annoying. You get one QB hit, you give up $1 million again. But
that's what it is.
I don't know. Yeah, how many did they have? They had 4 sacks, 3 hurries, 6 pass breakup. So 10 tackles for loss. That's been the story. You just can't get anything positive sustained. So that one time in the second half was good until they didn't get it on 4th down. I think that was the first drive in the second half. That was a really nice drive.
Good play. Like they had some good plays with the reverses and added some action on that. But that's what having a mobile quarterback gives you. Mm-hmm. And that's why, even more frustrating than the loss is you had Jack Tuttle and you had Dexter Williams on the roster, and Walt Bell likes to run a system with the mobile quarterback. You can't. I mean, look, after his knee injury or hamstring injury, whatever happened at Missouri, Connor Bazelak's not running all that much. He doesn't have the quickness, and there was there was one play where Bazelak got sacked where there were similar opportunities for Dexter Williams, and Dexter Williams escapes up the middle and gets 5 or 6 yards and things like that. And that's the difference between, a 3 and out or maybe flipping the field and setting up those third down, third and manageables. So we'll see. We'll see what they do against Michigan State. I got to go and watch some Michigan State tape, but they need one win for bowl eligibility, and they have IU and at Penn State left. So they're going to want to get this one on Saturday and, get to a bowl game. They do charge media $30 for parking. So I guess somebody has to pay Mel Tucker. So it might as well be us, I guess. But, it's a rivalry game. It's been since we've started playing annually again, it's a rivalry game that's gained some steam. IU won in 2016. They won in 2020. And that's how it starts. And I know one of your great stories, Alex, is covering the 2016 game, and you had one of those Kelly School tests and ran as fast as you ever run from the test to
I-Core, baby.
Yep. But we won't go over what you score.
Yeah, I-Core, I think it was my marketing portion, but Saturday night during the bucket games, I was, not super happy. So I told in my head, I was like, if I don't know it immediately after reading it, I'm putting C. And I-Core is a big deal. So everybody was super nervous and fired up for the, exam and wanted to do really well. I went to the test in my jersey. And then if I didn't know it on first read, just put C. The looks I got standing up in the big, Hodge Hall and Kelly, auditorium or big lecture hall. After, I think it took me about 14 minutes. So you had 2 hours to do it. It took me 14 minutes. The looks I got walking up from the top row down to just put my, Scantron or whatever on the desk and then leave in my jersey. And I yelled "Beat Sparty" and then just ran to the stadium. So I remember running through the parking lot and there were still people tailgating. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Going to the game. While I was just like sprinting through the parking lot. Griffin Oaks hit that chip shot field goal, stormed the field, got the spittoon back. Great night. That's what college is all about for the people that miss out on those. I don't know.
Yep. So you did the Walt Bell tempo on your I-Core test.
Yes, Walt Bell tempo. Yep, and it worked. Didn't have to punt. But yeah, I did. The up tempo, get the ball out of my hands quick on the Scantron. So worked great. I did not score very well on the test, but
we don't endorse this strategy, but it worked for the football team. It's what college football to me is about. It's rivalry games, regional rivalry games, and we'll talk about the bucket coming up next week as well. So enjoy the rest of the week. I know IU basketball has a big game on Friday at Xavier. Should be a heck of an atmosphere down there. Good weekend for IU sports as well. With women's basketball, you have they play Tennessee down in Knoxville. Tomorrow on I think ESPN or ESPN2. So be locked into that. They look good. The men's basketball team looks very good as well. And then you have football, and I think men's soccer is tied 1-1 right now with Rutgers in the Big Ten championship game in soccer. So it's that time of year that all the sports are going on, and you got 2 more football games to enjoy this year before we head into a long dark off season.
Yes.
That hopefully will bring you a little light and a little hope going forward. But Zach, Alex, thanks for joining me on After the Dust Settles. I know kind of got out of hand last week, but it was well deserved from this Indiana football program. And we'll have After Dust Settles after the season as well to go over what needs to happen, what needs to change, and things like that. But Indiana kicks off against Michigan State up at Spartan Stadium at noon Eastern on Saturday. It'll be televised on BTN. They're looking to take back the old brass spittoon. We'll have all your pregame write-ups up to the game. We'll have you covered on Twitter during the game, and then we'll have all your post-game things as well. So enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the big sporting events coming up. Alex, thank you. Zach, thank you. I'm Sammy Jacobs. You can follow us on Twitter at Hoosier_Huddle while Twitter still exists. You can follow us on YouTube as well. Like, rate, subscribe, watch all our videos, and follow us at HoosierHuddle.com. So that does it for today's show.